I really hope the lighting is better this time because last time it was a total disaster that I had to literally delete that video of YouTube. Today we will be talking about Crime and Punishment. It literally took me 25 days to finish this book, and it wasn't like the version I have is not even like that thick of a version, like that thick of a book, but like it still took me 25 days. And I really want to give like a disclaimer out there. If you're looking, forward to read like Russian literature or looking forward to read like, Fyodor Dostoevsky, I would recommend you to not start with this. I know a lot of people say that start with Crime and Punishment. It is comparatively an easy read, but I would not recommend you to start with Crime and Punishment. It is easy. Yes, I'll give that. Any version you pick, it is much easier to grasp and much easier to, comprehend and read. But start with short stories. Get yourself, get yourself to read short stories by any Russian author. It doesn't have to be Fyodor Dostoevsky, but if you start with Fyodor Dostoevsky, it's much better because then you are, familiar with the themes and the writing and the kind of things the characters bring in his books actually. And there's one more thing that I would, I would tell my readers, like if you're reading Crime and Punishment or any book that requires, an effort sort of, please annotate along the way because that really helps. I was somebody, I was not an annotating person, like sort of, but with Crime and Punishment I did, and I really think it helped me in a way. I literally have notes. I made a character, wait, I also made a character cheat sheet so that, I really know what I'm talking about and what I'm learning, through the journey and all of that. So yeah, this that. So I would highly recommend, if you're not somebody who annotates a lot, if you're reading Fyodor Dostoevsky or Crime and Punishment or any book like that, I would highly recommend that you start annotating. Anyway, let's get into the book. Okay, so the book talks about this guy, Raskolnikov, who is 24-year-old. And in my short, like the short, if you have seen on the YouTube, I actually mentioned 23-year-old, but he's actually 24 years old and he's living in Russia. He's away from his hometown. I can't remember because a lot of, towns were written like, except for Petersburg, a lot of street names and town names were like S and K, and maybe for like ethical reasons, but yeah. So he's living in this, he's away from his town and he's living in a city, and he is a student. He's actually pursuing law, and he also does like side hustle sort of thing. But due to some reason, he has stopped, side stopped the side hustles, and he also like dropped out of university. And for that reason, he is not having any money, right? And every week he needs to pay up his landlady because, like, again, you're living, you're using their utilities, you have to pay up. So every time he used to, just to pay this lady the rent, he used to pawn like little things. Sometimes it used to be like 3 kopecks, the money that was mentioned, it was kopecks or rubles or something like that. And this time, like this time, he basically pawned his sister's watch. Okay, so yeah, there was this is how it started. And during this time he was thinking about, doing this. He had this strong urge to do something. He was also having these lucid dreams where, like where he thinks that, oh my god, this is a sign from the universe, like maybe I am right and maybe I should do it. That is how the whole book starts. And when he's thinking about doing these things, he also meets Marmeladovs. I am butchering the names. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce Russian names. So yeah, he also met like Marmalade or Marm. I started calling him Marma. So he met Marma in like a tavern sort of situation, and Marma starts talking about his life, that how his daughter and his wife are so sick, and they all depend on his eldest daughter, and she is actually like basically selling herself, okay, just to survive in the in the economy and all of it. So yeah, that is how part one starts, and everything is happening. He's having lucid dreams. He's thinking about things and this and that. Meanwhile, all of that is happening. His mother, Rodia's, Raskolnikov's mother, and his sister Dunya, they send him a letter basically stating that, oh my god, Dunya is going to get married to this guy. That guy, guys, that guy is an absolute arse. I did not like that guy. His name was P- mm, for my own sanity, we are going to call him Petrovich. Okay. So he's also like some officer at this lawyer consultancy something. And she sends the letter to Rodia. Rodia is basically the nickname. And she states that, oh my god, I'm going to get married. Like, I'm going to get Dunya married off to this Petrovich guy, who is an absolute arse of a person. And why is that? Because Dunya was falsely accused of sleeping with this another guy, where she was like working as a governess. And I'm not going to pronounce this other guy's name because it is very difficult to pronounce that name. So I'll just um mention it somewhere on the screen. Okay. And the mother, oh my god, the mother is such a yapper. Like, the whole letter was so long without like any paragraph break. Like, it was literally blobs of text. So yeah, there's that. And I think I covered the part one. Okay, so that is what is happening. By part two, the deed is done. I think everybody knows by this point that the deed is done. And okay, when he when he does this thing, right, when he is like, okay, I have done this, and I have this victims money and all of that. Now, like, I am inevitable in a sense. I'm unstoppable. But part two explores his paranoia with that deed. So he falls sick. He is almost facing delirium, and that is when his wait, I am so sorry for this. Okay, that is when his best friend Rasmihin, Rasmihin something. I'll mention the spellings somewhere on the screen. That guy enters, okay, and that guy is basically such a good friend because he's there for him. He's always there for him. He even tries to tell him that, okay, you know what, don't worry about the money, I'll get you the job, you just translate these things with me, and they're in German, you need to translate, or something of that sort. Okay, and you can earn, it's all right, like, I'm also going through this whole thing, and we can make this work, we can make a living out of this thing. So he tries to, he really tries to be a good friend to him. But then again, Raskolnikov being Raskolnikov, he will say like he wouldn't wake up for days. This and that. So when he is when he is sick and wouldn't wake up for days, during that time the murder has taken place. Not during that time, before that has it has taken place, but like when he has fallen sick, the police is searching the place where the murder has taken the place. Okay. Now, what this dumb of a person, oh my god, the character of Raskolnikov is such a rage bait character, I cannot even begin with. Okay, and the police visited Raskolnikov's room. And the police, their my flashlight stopped. Sorry, my phone needed to take a chill pill. Anyway, it just needed to cool down. Where was I? Yeah, the two police officers. So, like, they visit Raskolnikov's room, and in his building only the murder has taken place. And when he is, sick, So he wouldn't wake up for days, he wouldn't eat for days. That is when the police visits him. Now, one of the police officers, Porphyry, he already suspects Raskolnikov, but he just, he doesn't have like enough evidence to, you know um arrest him. So he just takes his time and all of that. That is how part 2 happens and all of that. Okay. So part 3 happens, and part 3, what happens in part 3? Yeah, part 3 is also like going forth, like going back and forth with the police officers and what is happening with them. They're suspecting you, like they're suspecting who the killer is, and they kind of suspect the porter guy, who works in the building, to carry stuff for the lodgers and everything. So like they suspect, like not suspect, but it turns out to be, it doesn't turn out to be him, but the way Raskolnikov tells the story, it seems that the porter killed the guy. So that is how like they go back and forth with this whole thing. They're like, oh my god, this happened, that happened, blah blah blah. And by that time, Dunya, Rodia's sister, and Pulcheria, Rodia's mother, come to visit him and see him, and he just avoids everybody. He is annoying like that. Anyway, that all of those things happen, and stuff keeps happening. He keeps, denying it or stuff like that. So this one time, there's this one scene where Zametov. Okay, this one time Zametov and Raskolnikov are in a bar situation, and Zametov like very cleverly hints at Raskolnikov that, what would you do if you were in that particular situation. And Raskolnikov was like, you know, like, oh my god, like, I thought maybe you don't know, like I might have done that in this way. He was literally like that. So yeah, there was that whole thing and all of that. Part 4, comes, and this is where Dunya and Petrovich are, like bound to meet and all of those things. Whereas Raskolnikov doesn't approve Petrovich guy as his brother-in-law. He doesn't approve Petrovich for his sister Dunya. So he's like, no, I don't approve of him. He was like very, when he came to visit me when I was sick, when I wasn't, like in my conscious mind, he came to visit me, and it just, it just wasn't working. I wasn't vibing with him, and he seems like very like very very very, I don't even know how to say it. No. Anyway, Raskolnikov and Petrovich were not vibing with each other at all. Petrovich hated Raskolnikov, Raskolnikov hated Petrovich, and he wouldn't like that for his sister Dunya. So like Raskolnikov was like, I'll give you an ultimatum, either him or me, your brother. And Dunya was like, what the hell is this situation? And Petrovich was also like, oh my god, either him or me, your husband to be. But then like they realized that he's not the kind of person that he, shows himself to be in front of people. He's just absolute arse. And they later also find out, when they later find out when they meet, oh my god, I forgot the name. They find out what an arse of a person Petrovich is during Marma's funeral service. Oh my god, that took that took all of my brain to figure it out, even though it is written right here. So that is all of that is happening. They still haven't, figured out whether Raskolnikov is guilty or not. And during this time, they, like the police officer Porfiry and Zametov, figure out that Raskolnikov has written this article where he says that there are two kind of people, the ordinary and the extraordinary, and the ordinary people are, those kind of people that are submissive to law. They are bound to all legal, moral, and social actions, and the extraordinary people are those who are not bound to, like, they're not bound to any moral, legal, or social action, and there is like no obligation towards them, and they're superior over everybody. Okay, and that is where, that when that article, the whole article thing is discussed, that is where it actually gets interesting. So yeah, there's that. And I am trying really hard to not give you spoilers, because because there are way too many, subplots and plot twists and everything. So yeah, uh, it actually gets interesting after like part 3. Part 1, 2 and 3 are just, the backstory. And I truly think that that backstory is very important to understand why it happened, because the why of that whole deed and of that whole murder was really really important. So yeah, there's that. I would not get any further. I think I discussed everything. Okay, yeah, there was this one more character, Sonia, which is Marma's daughter. And basically, because again, like they're so poor and they're so like below the poverty line. So she goes for the very unconventional method of making money. That is the most respectful way of saying it. So yeah, she goes for like this unconventional method of making money, and she happens to cross paths with Raskolnikov when that whole thing happens. And she is there for him all the time. Like, she's like, you need to understand and you need to confess your crimes, and it is only better that you do, because there may be um some sort of redemption for you. Okay, so yeah, that whole thing happens. Even in the end, Raskolnikov backs out. He's like, I'm not gonna confess. He gets there almost, but he doesn't confess. So he sees Sonia standing and he's like, oh shit, you know. So now I have to do it. So there's that, the whole thing. I truly think it is one of the greatest pieces of literature out there, but I genuinely do not think that you should start with this. Even I was, as an avid reader, as you all can see, I hope you can see my bookshelf behind. As an avid reader myself, it took me a lot of time and effort to finish this thing, the whole thing. Anyway, there are more characters. I think the guy I was talking about, I forgot. Anyway, there are a lot more characters and a lot more subplots. And see, it discusses morality in a very human way. So I'll tell you something. I don't understand when it, like, I read it somewhere that you not you, basically Dostoevsky's work inspired Sigmund Freud. And then, like, when I am a psychology student and nobody is teaching like this stuff in this discipline, and I would highly encourage if you guys could encourage people to read more and more, especially when you are a psychologist, because like the whole thing was so human. And it wasn't dramatic in the sense the way you see it in the movies or something like that. It felt very normal. Like, if you do something wrong, right, if you do something wrong and there's this guilt in your head, and you go through that guilt and you're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And that's like a normal thing to do, like going through that guilt, processing it, confessing it. Everything was just, like, I personally felt everything was just humans being humans the way they are supposed to be. And I think people in the psychology field should read it. It should be necessary in their curriculum to read Dostoevsky or any Russian literature, because this other time I was reading this play, Uncle Vanya by Anton Chekhov. Amazing play, one of the most amazing plays, I think. And even that play, the whole play was talking about, when you do something for somebody and they just, like, they make you feel so small because you did something for them and it just doesn't mean anything to them. And you're like, what the hell, like, man, I did so much for you, I gave my earnings, I gave my savings, and you just ignored all of it. And like, even going through that, the whole thing was like they were not fighting, they were not like killing or um yeah, so they were not grabbing each other's collars and like, oh my god, what the hell. It was just so human. And I think this is how humans are, and this is how humans should be portrayed in books and novels and all of it, like it just felt very normal to me. And yes, of course, it asks the question of existentialism and morality and nihilism, all of that. But I think if if you are not intimidated by all of those subjects as much, I think it is one of the greatest reads. And also, one more thing I would like to say, I think they are focusing on the wrong thing of crime and punishment, right? I think people who, always quote this one thing that pain and suffering is inevitable with large intelligence and deep minds, I think they are quoting that thing wrong. I think they should quote the article where he says that a single mistake, not even article, I think this guy, that guy from that town where Dunya was working, I forgot his name. Anyway, so that guy actually says that what would if, like, a single misdeed is permissible when, like when the principal aim is right. I think people should quote that and people should start with that. That is the whole essence of this book. People shouldn't start with pain and suffering. It shouldn't be like that. It took me very long. I am sorry. And I really hope the quality of videos are getting better in some way or the other. A lot of people told me that I do not look at the camera. I tried my best to look at the camera this time, and yeah, that's about it. I think that is all. I think I did not miss any points. I would highly recommend you to read it, but at your own pace. Do not read it because you're having this FOMO. Do not read it because you want to impress your crush. Do not read it because you want to impress somebody. Not just any crush, but just somebody. Do not read it for them. Read it for you. Read it for your understanding. Read it from your own perspective. And do tell me what did you think about the book when you were reading it, because for me it wasn't about the murder. For me it wasn't about the whole process of him going through the guilt and exploring that thing. For me it was how human that character was, the main character Raskolnikov. And it actually showed why did it inspire like one of the greatest writers, or one of the greatest, like Sigmund Freud and Friedrich Nietzsche, all of those people. So it just, yeah, it is, everybody should read it once in their lifetime, I guess, but read it at your own pace. I hope, um yeah, that's about it, I guess. I'll see you guys again next month, hopefully with a new book. And please do drop comments, do drop reviews and everything, whatever you think about the whole thing. We are always trying to improve this thing. So yeah, bye bye, thank you.